taking the plunge. Here's my
Hello everyone, this is Bob and this is part 2 of cap rates. The concepts, the calculation, the omnipotentness, and the limitations of cap rate. This is part 2. We're going to start calculating cap rate. If you don't know what cap rate is, how to use it, when to not use it, how to view it, things like that, go to part 1. This is part 2. Let's get into the numbers now. Okay, so what is cap rate from a mathematical standpoint? From a mathematical standpoint, whoop, look at that. Look at that thing. Look at this. I put stuff up. From a mathematical standpoint, cap rate is a simple calculation of just net operating income over sales price or purchase price. That's it. That's it. But the thing is actually calculating the puppy. What is sales price in reality? It sounds obvious, a little less obvious. And then the bigger cookie to crack, don't crack a cookie, eat the cookie. But a bigger nut to crack is net operating income. That's the main thing we're going to be talking about here, guys. So let's dive into it. Sales price, I'm going to get done quick. So look at my cursor. See this thing that turns blue? Look at the thing that turns blue. You look at the blue thing that's moving around. Okay, you found it. Fantastic. So these are the numbers of an apartment complex that I own and I am currently selling. So I wanted to make it a little real. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Anyway, I'm selling it for $347. Okay, so that's part of the sales price. That's the bottom part of the entire calculation. So, it's just NOI over sales price. Net operating income divided by sales price. I beat that to death. So, $347. So you think sales price, right, is just $347 at the bottom over there. Well, no, it's not. At least that's not how I look at it. I don't think that's the correct way to look at it. Because, what if you're looking to renovate the thing, but you still want to hold on to it for a year or two and have cash flow? That's when you're going to use this cap rate. If you're just flipping it, then it's more of a future thing. But I include my initial renovation cost because that's kind of part of the upfront cost to me, right? Because when you're purchasing a property, you're not just purchasing land and a piece of paper that says you own it. You're purchasing problems. And what you're trying to do, if you're trying to rehab it, is you're trying to solve those problems. And to solve problems, you need to spend money. Hooray, capitalism. So I like to add that. So 347 and 20, right? So in reality, my purchase price is like 367, right? Because I didn't just buy the property, I bought $20,000 worth of problems. Do your own thing on the back end to discover that. That's just a thing I do. I think it just makes it more accurate and is more truthful about what's actually going on. I also tend to include closing costs. Sometimes closing costs are really high. So I like to add that because, if closing costs are like $10,000 for whatever reason, whatever the deal said, that's 30 more grand, right? And that's like cash. Just saying. I'm going to make those 0 because people actually look at this. And so that's sales price. Now let's get into the meat, the real thing, the net operating income. So net operating income says, let's start with gross market rent, the obvious, the income, people's rent coming in. Also add in laundry and vending, another basic thing. Income's kind of obvious. Where's your money coming in from? Just add all that. Now let's get to the expenses. This is where it gets fun, guys. This is the area that you really need to look into during your due diligence section. This is the area you need to be truthful about because I'm going to go into this and I'm going to show you exactly what people start doing. Now, here's the thing. Let's start with vacancy. I build that into my expenses. Even if there's 0 vacancy at the place, some people will be like, oh, it's 100% full. I'm going to put 0. No. Okay. There's a big problem with that. There's a big problem with that because look, cap rate is typically done over 12 months. It's not done over today. This isn't a balance sheet. Like, so you need to have an effective vacancy going in. An effective vacancy, not an actual. I always put at least 10% if you have a stable asset. You can have an amazing the 10% can change. You could put it at 8% if you have an incredible market, like prime spot, everyone wants to be there, coolest house in Beverly Hills or whatever. Yeah, maybe your vacancy is going to be a little bit lower. Or like Manhattan, where it sells in like seconds. San Francisco, certain areas. Yeah, maybe you can. But here's the thing. Sometimes you're still missing money on that gap. Maybe it still has to be filled in 3 weeks. So you always have an effective vacancy. I keep it at 10. I beat that enough. Next thing. Accounting and legal. A lot of people don't add this into their expenses. A lot of people think of expenses as just like, oh, like utility bill, management costs, maintenance, property tax. A lot of people don't add the legal. Why? Why aren't you adding the legal costs? I add the legal costs because what if you're in a partnership and you have accounting that's just done and you have an outside accountant? That's part of your expenses, right? Or what if you have a high turnover and you just got to give people notices? How many notices have been given at the place? Maybe you can find that out in the due diligence. Is it a rough area? Maybe you're going to have to get the sheriff out there. That all costs money. Look up how much those things cost and kind of guesstimate. This is just a little 7-unit complex, so I just put down 500, and that's what I found works on the small stuff, 500 to 1,000. Marketing expenses. How are you going to market? Are you doing it this, that, the other? I usually just do 2%. Usually not the biggest number, $120 a unit, or 1. Mine is 0 because I just put a sign out. I have a great spot. And my vacancy in reality is not 10. But, so here's a big one. Here's a big one, guys. Repairs and maintenance. This is one of the most fudged numbers that you're going to come into during the due diligence period. This is the area that is not just fudged by other people, but that you're going to fudge yourself. You need to look into this, and you need to not have it too low. Okay, mine is low right now. And I say it with a disclaimer. Mine's at 6%, which honestly, on this thing is low. But I have a disclaimer on it when in my other stuff. Because 6% is super low. Normally, we're looking at 12, 15, even 18%. And when I'm saying percent, I'm saying percentage of the income, by the way, like 10% vacancy. I have it in the spreadsheet as that, essentially. Okay? Like it's 6% of the income. The reason why it's 6 is I rehabbed the whole place. Everything is just like sparkling new. And for the first year, it might actually be 6%. But here's the thing. This 6% might not work for you if you're planning on holding the asset for 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. You should honestly put it at minimum 12%. It should really be 15. And if it's kind of an older building, especially if it's not like an A, B class building, you might even want it at 17 or more, or 18. That's my rule of thumb on management and maintenance. You can go and check other sources like IRM. You can get a bunch of info on there, things like that. But check IRM. I have a CPM. I don't know if you guys can get it, but yeah, those are some basic things. Utilities. Check the past. If it's a stable asset, make sure to put in actuals on utilities. If it's filled up, just do that. If not, break it down per door what the average utility bill is there. You can break it down per door. It's pretty easy. You'll figure it out. And make it likewise of the utilities, because if it's half filled and you want to fill it all the way up and you keep utilities at 5,000, but you doubled it, the number of people there, but you kept utilities the same, your utilities are half. So make sure you just think that one through. Utilities people don't normally BS themselves on, but they don't think it through. So just make sure you have that reflecting the occupancy rate you think you should have in the future, not what it is. Management fee, that's just hunting around. and making sure you do that. But make sure you read the contract, because sometimes their percentage rate on gross rent that's what my company does. But then they have like a billion different fees. So if it's like 8% management fee, but they have like tons of fees that are going to happen, it might be like 15%. So just do your homework on that. Don't just take it at face value of what they're saying. Do your homework. Do your homework. Do your homework on the management contract. Do your homework on the management contract. Okay. And their ability to perform, honestly. Don't cut rates on management. I'm super biased in this area, but seriously, like, for real, you don't want to cut rate manager, especially if it's like a C-class property or area, especially. Because then that's when they really earn their money. There's so much more to do. It's harder. Property tax. Make sure you're basing your property tax in the realm of what you're buying it for. Because if the dude bought it for $1 and you're buying it for $1 million, then the taxes are going to be a little bit different. Over time, because you're proving value and this and that. So just make sure you do that correctly. If you're buying it for the same wheelhouse of area, just increase it. Taxes is calculated differently in every state. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. You have to Google it. Insurance. I usually adopt just the insurance plan they already have, because I'm not particularly picky on my insurance. I just make sure a few certain things I look for that thing that I think will happen are insured. Generally, you're okay if you just use the insurance they're using, unless it's like crazy low. If you do HOA, just make sure you do it. Reserves, that's up to you to put on. A lot of people stress it, but I stress everything else. If you are a person who wants to put reserves in there, if you don't have a couple different pockets, like if you only have one property, this isn't a partnership, you're doing this and that, actually, yes, you should be doing it. I would put around 5%. 3% if you're feeling spicy. So that's really it, guys, and that's what's gonna make net operating income. All that stuff I just went in through. The main thing is do your homework. Actually try on calculating the numbers. And second is don't fool yourself into making those numbers lower. I'm serious on that. I have seen so many people who knew better, who knew so much better, experience, been in the business for 15 years, 20 years, and I just see it in their eyes, and they're just like, they just want to believe. And they know that, you know, like this, that utilities got to go up, that they don't want to do the homework, that they don't want to add the accounting and legal, no one's going to leave, vacancy's going to stay 0. They know, there's like, they get this crazy look in their eyes, and they're like, woo, don't do that. If you feel like you might be doing that, look in the mirror. If you look crazy, then I suggest taking a moment, taking a breather, you know, maybe smacking yourself in the face, you know, a little slap doesn't hurt you, a little cold water on the face, and then look at the numbers again with a more sober mind. I can't stress that enough. Cap rate is not hard to calculate. It is, however, hard to be mature about. That is the main thing I want you to remember with cap rate. Okay, guys, that is it for this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you have any more questions, we went over a lot of stuff here. Put it in the comment section. If you loved it, if you're new to this, subscribe. I always got stuff going on. Always new videos. It's fantastic. That's it, guys. Have a good one. Bye.